I'm Rezlar.
I'm Frosty.
As nobody's really engaged quite yet.
Yep. Oh, there we have a bit of... Oh, was that a triple stun for the Mystic?
And welcome back to the Value Pack. And we are back. Welcome everybody to another episode of the Value Pack. We missed last week. That was on me. Finals, Mother's Day, laziness, all things that went into it that ended up making us have to skip a week. Luckily, finals are over, and it's summer now, which means I work full time, which means I'm very tired. But that being said, we're still going to do our best to bring you the low quality content you've come to just generally accept. That being said, let's just jump right into the comments because we got a lot of shit we want to talk about today with a very interesting person that has a lot of stuff to say. So, Adamimnon Spaz says, Norway is not part of the EU. Enjoyable podcast. Great for grinding. Keep it up. Did you know that, Frosty?
I failed geography.
No, Norway is not a part of the EU. Who knew? Small Dick Stole Your Girl says, I see Mystics with 269 AP, 346 DP evasion, and I can't do damage to them. What items are they using for this build? How much accuracy AP do you need to counter it? Also, is this build good on other classes? That amount of gear score would probably be good on pretty much any class.
Yeah, I've now run into this build. So actually today I was fighting Multi from Black Rose, who's DK. And he's 353 DP because of pen armors and Kaffir stones. And like that build is just tanky no matter your class. He's a Dark Knight. I'm a Mystic. And like I have a really, really hard time killing him. So yes, that build works for everybody.
Yeah.
Just get the best gear and you win.
As far as how much AP you would need to counter it and like accuracy, I mean, you're probably looking at like 270, what is it, like 277, the bracket before 281?
I think so. Once you get to that point, I think most people, I want to say not soft cap, but soft cap in quotes, where people start working towards DP is around 281. Once you're 281 AP, that bracket, it's so hard to get AP that people start working towards DP. But if everyone is around that gear score, yeah, it's going, even at 281, it takes 2 combos to kill somebody. That's 347 or higher. And that's just how it is, which I think is fine. It's rough when you're not that gear. But when everyone's that gear, it's actually kind of this weird, happy middle ground where everybody takes 2 combos to kill, and that's just how it is. And I think that's actually a good thing.
Austin Lassiter says, that was me in my first text node war ever. I didn't know what a supply depot was and thought the recovery center was a supply depot. Couldn't understand why I kept crouching, so I was like, well, it must be a timer to activate the recovery. A few seconds later, and the structure disappeared. I was like, what the fuck? A couple minutes later, someone in voice chat was like, whoa, we're missing a recovery. Did they take it out already? That was fast.
Oh my god.
Good job, Vitex.
A little side anecdote, because I think that's in response to the Merc that was pulling up structures.
Yeah.
But I remember early on, my old GM of Hex, before I was GM of Hex, didn't know how to build a supply depot. And we were all super mad at him, except that none of us knew how to build one either. So we just had a war with no supply depot, so we didn't use horses for the whole war. It was so bad, dude. It was so bad. It was fucking embarrassing. Anyway, side note.
Hard mode, man. That's what that is. Jeff M says, sorry, been busy for a few weeks. Pulls out Meat Scepter. Any takers? No, maybe next time. Had to stop doing in-game talk. Excited about new PvE weapon. Agree with you guys on the protection chart showing basically nothing. Frosty, have your White Knight levels reached Guru yet? Rezlar, miss you, homie.
Not level. I'm waiting for a paycheck. They owe me a lot of money right now for the work I've already done. So once I get paid, yeah, I'm gonna buff up to Guru. But I'm like Master 28 right now. I'm close.
Yeah. Kamikaze says, the dream for the resistances, make it so the percentage resistance you have is a damage reduction on attacks that do specific types of CC with a small lingering. For instance, if you have, let's say, 60% bound resistance and you get bound by a CC, then the attack that bounds you in, let's say, 0.5 seconds afterwards or something, after the effect has activated, will be reduced by a percentage amount. That reduction should be based on how much your resistance is. With this type of system, of course, it needs to be tested, adjusted, and all that, but with such a resistance system, you no longer have random CCs hitting or resisting, but you can stack resistances to act as a specific type of damage reduction. This would also give options for a lot more diverse crystal setups, and they also would need tweaking, but I honestly believe it's a way to remove the current CC system without invalidating the progress on crystals/gear players already have. Also, about the in-game part of the podcast, loved it as a Marvel fanboy since I found my brother's original Marvel comics from the 70s, but in-game was not good on a lot of things we cannot mention here. But for those of us who have watched every movie, some even 2 or 3 times, it was an utter disappointment regarding continuity. So many established quote-unquote truths from the previous movies was just ignored for the sake of plot needs it so. Love the podcast again, guys. Much love from Norway, which is not a part of the EU.
Yeah. So at first when I read that comment early on when they posted it, and I was like, I don't know about that system. And then I thought about our current resist system, and I was like, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, if you successfully CC somebody because they made a mistake and they're on the ground and you go to refloat somebody or re-knock them down or whatever, I would much rather the resistance means that my refloat or re-knockdown just does less damage versus it just doesn't work at all, you know? Like, that definitely is better, so I would be down.
For sure. Mike H. says, love from England. Can you comment on DR builds for wizards still being viable? I spent ages on my DR build because people in my guild told me evasion is trash, and then boom, as soon as I'm finished, evasion is the meta again. FML serves me right for not keeping up with the news. You're now my source of info. Edit, been plugging the cast on chat/Discord. Hope you guys grow. Appreciate it, Mike.
So 2 things. 1, England is not a part of the EU. Did you guys know that?
Wasn't that what Brexit was about?
I'm kidding. 2, DR is certainly viable. Zethian, actually, and I don't know if he's changed his build recently, but 2.5, 3 weeks ago, I was fighting him. I'm 278. I was fighting him on my Sork, 278 on my Sork, and I could not kill him. It took 3 combos to kill him. He's DR build, so DR is certainly viable. Just you still need a lot of stats, a lot of DP, but
yep.
DR is definitely viable. It's just a different route, but I think it's just as good as evasion. It's just different.
Yeah, DR is fine, especially if you already have a full DR build. There's no point in trying to move over to an evasion build. It just doesn't make sense. They're both fine.
Well, like some classes, like Striker, Mystic, and Ninja Kuno, where you have percentage evasion boosts, I get it. But if you don't have that, then I think DR is totally fine.
Yep, agreed. Clyde says, by the time you read this, you probably already know, but some information on horses from a horse nerd. Horse market is fixed prices based on horse gender, level, skills, and breeds. T9s can't breed, but the gender price difference still stands because lol coding. In general, max out T9 males will be around 10 bill, and females will be around 12 bill. Their prices will never change unless they actually make a change to the horse market overall, similar to how they tripled courser prices recently. Additionally, you can put costumes on T9s, but depending on the horse, you either no longer notice it's a T9 or it glitches out, especially the mane of the unicorn poking through whatever barding you want. That's why most T9s you notice are naked. The ones with costumes are hard to spot without actually looking for the shiny tattoos or unicorn horn. Doom would be pretty easy to see with a costume on.
It's like, hey, the T6 horse has fire on its feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, didn't you say the other day that you looked and they were selling for 14 bill? So I guess they raised it a little bit, huh?
Wait, what song? For 14
the horses, dream horses. I thought you said it was like 14 bill.
It's like 11.4 or something. So
okay.
I also heard, I actually haven't even looked into this when someone told me this, but if you level the horse to level 30, it'll sell for X amount, whatever the max is for whether it's a male or female. But if you sell at level 1, it's actually cheaper. And I guess the gamble is like you might have to pay to win the horse at level 1, right? Because you have to get the right skills and stats and whatever.
Yeah.
So apparently you can get a dream horse level 1 for like 8 bill or 9 bill or something like that. I don't know if that's true though. I never look at the horse market because I need gear.
Who needs to spend money on horses when I'm not 281 AP and 347 DP yet?
Exactly.
Bajagi779 says Striker also has an unprotected grab in Awakening. Yeah, so there was this huge thing in Discord about me saying that there were only a couple classes with unprotected grabs. I meant classes that only had unprotected grabs. Like, my own class has an unprotected grab. I'm well aware that more classes than what I listed have unprotected grabs. But Zerker has 3 other grabs that are protected, so I'm not going to list that in a situation where I'm talking about unprotected grabs. I was specifically talking about classes who only had 1 grapple, and that 1 grapple is unprotected. Now, that being said, I still did miss a few classes, but unsurprisingly, they're classes that I've said repeatedly that I have no idea what they do or what they're about. It was like Valk, Kuno, I think, and Tamer.
Tamer and Land.
I have never played those classes seriously. I've played them to like 56, grinding at Helms, and then I never touched them again. So I know nothing about those classes, so it's no surprise to me that I didn't know about those. But
in fairness, Rezlar doesn't even remember the patch they added Valkyrie to the game. It's new, but...
Alex Martin says, I died inside when Rezlar said he didn't want a dream horse, then insults to injury with the Dine hate. Is that how you say it? Dine?
The Dine. Well, I guess there isn't a ampersand or whatever, or not ampersand, what's it called? The accent mark.
Oh, accent.
Apostrophe. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think everyone just says Dine.
Dine, yeah, whatever. He says, also, I truly can't stand when people do what Rezlar is doing and essentially just bench about how everything PA/Cacao does is incompetent and terrible. I know it's half jokes, but seriously, MMOs are some of the most complex software projects ever, and most don't have even close to the level of technical complexity this one requires. I'm a software developer IRL, so I have some internal perspective on the situation, and I gotta say that anyone who thinks they're incompetent simply doesn't know what they're talking about. Of course, they make mistakes and aren't perfect, but man, PA and Cacao are taking one of the hardest tasks and making it look relatively easy. It's not white knighting to take a step back and consider that maybe they're not incompetent, just not perfect. Anyway, that's all. The fact that I'm a software dev probably makes this hit closer to home, hence the frustration I'm expressing. But honestly, it's pretty annoying to hear how a shit job they do when, honestly, the vast majority of companies can't even conceive of pulling something like this off with half the success they've had. Regardless, great podcast as always. Love listening to you guys. Keep it up, smiley face.
What was his name?
Alex Martin.
Alex Martin, you are an honorary member of episode 17. Absolutely, dude. 100% agree. You can be objective, but still sound like you're white knighting. This game is hard, dude. It's hard. Like, what they've done is actually astounding. As even with the mistakes, it's kind of crazy how amazing this shit is.
But here's my issue. I didn't even complain about, like, I've never been one to complain about, like, bugs, typically speaking. I really can't think of a time that I've really bitched about it for, like, an extended period of time, aside from, like, oh, well, that's just kind of inconvenient. I don't complain that much about, like, the content that's coming out, aside from, like, well, it's just more grind spots, which I know people like, so that makes sense that they're making it. My complaint, and specifically, if I remember correctly in regards to the last podcast, was in the past, more than once, they've promised something, they've said something was coming out, they've set a date for it, and then they've pushed it back. So whenever you do that, and you do that more than once, the biggest one is Nuver. That was like, I mean, that got delayed like a year or something. They just kept pushing it back over and over again. And then after like the third time, or like the second or third time it got pushed back, they just stopped giving dates on it. And then just one day they were like, oh, hey, it's coming out now. Like, that is incompetence.
In fairness, that lead game designer no longer works for the company.
Yeah, which is probably for the best, but that specifically is what I was referring to. Is that is really stupid for you to like give this date and then you tell your players, oh well, sorry, it's gonna have to be pushed back. Oh, sorry, it's gonna have to be pushed back. Oh, sorry, it's gonna have to be pushed back, and then just go silent. And it was literally, I think it was like, it might not have been a year. For some reason, my brain is screaming at me that it was like 8 months or something. But still, like, that's really bad. And that looks really bad. That paints a really bad picture. I mean, that being said, I give credit where credit's due. At the end of the day, I'm still playing this game. And there's not another game like it out there, which is why we're all still here. So, I mean, you got to give credit where credit's due. But in terms of them giving us timelines, like on when stuff is going to be released, they haven't had the best record, so I don't know. It's important to keep that in mind. That being said, I hope they improve. And like Frosty said, employees change, so reputations can change. So who knows? Sphierro says this has become my Monday morning content. I love it. Keep them coming.
Sorry about last Monday.
Nyashi was super upset. And I'm now noticing he now, see, this is why I did this, Nyashi. This is why I did this. I took a picture of Nyashi's comment because I wanted to see if he would edit it. Because he was really upset about this chart. I gotta remember where I took the picture, though. Let me see if I can find it exactly where it is. Because I had a feeling he was going to edit it. So I was like, I'm going to take a picture of this real quick, just in case. Oh, no, now I'm not going to be able to find it. Wait, is it in screenshots? Oh, it's in screenshot. Let's see here. Let me see if this is the same. Yeah, it is. So he had already edited it by the time I took this picture. Damn. So he might have already softened up a little bit, which is a little upsetting, but whatever. We'll get what we'll get. So he's still pretty upset. He says, LMFAO, that chart is trash. 5 super armor for MOAR. Pedal Drill, December are only attack super armors. Chase, Sleet Step, movement super armors. E-buff, really? That's such hair splitting LOL. Drill is a 7-second cooldown. December is flow to drill, so it's tied to it. And drill super armor falls off when you land. Sleet Step is 7-second cooldown, mostly used together with Red Moon to cancel Red Moon's animation. Chase is basically the only way we can gap close or disengage. Kinda can't function without it. MOAR having 9 frontal guards is funny. I count 7, and that's including the C-swap.
Yeah. Hold on, I gotta switch to my Archer for this, because I have a thought about this. Because there was recently, after we had talked about this, there was that post that I think a Ranger put up talking about the difference between Ranger and Archer, which the sentiment I'm 100% in agreement with. Because, I mean, Archer right now just has range CCs, it has a lot of protected movement, and the damage is insane, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they talk about how the Archer breaks the rules because it has protected CCs. However, it doesn't actually have I don't think it has any protected CCs. Maybe Zephyr Leap, I guess. A stiffness on good hit, forward guard while using the skill. Maybe that one, I guess. Ultimate Zephyr Leap. Is that the only one? Yeah, because all the others, what they do is they either lose the CC on the end of it, or they lose the protection on the end when the actual CC takes place, or it's like protection while charging, similar to like Warrior, Sork, Grim Reaper Judgment or whatever. And like it's a little bit misleading in that regard. I guess Zephyr Leap, I'd have to actually test Zephyr Leap out, because it says stiffness on good hits, and forward guard while using the skill. I don't know where the forward guard begins and where it ends.
Yeah.
But Just saying, like it's not as bad as it's like that. It's using just the numeric value of how many CCs and protections exist just doesn't really help a situation or an argument in the case of balancing like Ranger and Archer. I don't know. It just doesn't it doesn't do any justice to the point you're trying to get across, because it's like using hyperbole to kind of make your point, which kind of negates your point at the same time.
Well,
you know?
I think the important thing with charts like that is context matters. Like, the context in which you use the skill matters. The context in which, like, for instance, I always point to, like, protected CCs. Zerker has a bunch of protected CCs. Why? Because 2 of them are strapped to his heels, in which the very last hit of it CCs. And I always say, if you get CC'd by that ability, you should probably just uninstall the game, honestly. Because it is one of the most telegraphed things in the game, and it's literally for, half a second. So the context matters with these things, and it's like, you don't get that when you're looking at a spreadsheet of protections and CCs. You know, that's something that you get from fighting the class, knowing the class, you know, things like that. And I think that's why people get a little upset whenever they see charts like that and people go, well, that's kind of like horseshit. Like, I remember the first time I saw a chart that said something similar, and I was like, this is the most bullshit chart I've ever seen in my life. Like, this is just stupid. Because it provides no context into which the skills would be utilized or used at all. So, yeah, I don't know. Chart's dumb. I think we came to that conclusion last time.
Yeah.
I just realized I accidentally skipped a comment, so I gotta back up a little bit.
Yeah. I do want to say just one closing thought. Archer should be removed from the game. All right, go on.
Yeah, just remove Mystic with it, please. Boardwalk Toke.
Why? Oh my god.
Boardwalk Toke says Ranger's grapple is unprotected. Also, it's hilarious seeing her as the least protected with long cooldowns. Like, what? She gets trounced on so easily if there is more than one person. Some of her protection isn't even 100% useful. You even said it yourself how Zerker has a lot of protection, but not all of it is useful. Imagine a Ranger with only 8 protected abilities, and some of them are very situational. Pretty sad, while Archer is obviously so much more superior, since he is not only more protected, but can do powerful range damage while doing it. I know we can quote-unquote abuse double EES for an iframe, but it's not reliable at all. It's a panic move. Ranger is sadly a fucked up class, TBH. She is great in 1v1, but needs too much effort/gear to be decent compared to other classes in every other field. You have to abuse down smash if you don't have enough AP, and if it doesn't stick, then you have to do it all over again. If Critical played Archer, he would be a god. I know Crit is a very good Ranger, and he basically just super armor frontal guard trades until he gets an opening. It's how all decent Rangers fight in 1v1 situation, but small/large scale, it sucks ass playing Ranger. Split damage/stamina thing is shitty too, on top of her being squishy.
Yeah. All right. So a couple things. I forgot Ranger also is another one with unprotected grab. I cannot, and I'm with Rangers in, like, if they got buffed, like, I'd be totally cool with it in some way that helps them in large scale, because I think for the average and below average player, it's super difficult. But I have right now, Time Bomb recently joined our guild. I'm in Vexus right now. And now against Cho and Snake, he legit was top fragging. When we were against Snake and then Cho right after, he was like 40-6 on his Ranger. Like, just wrecking people. So I just don't, I'm not 100% on board with the whole it's no good in large scale. I think it's hard in large scale. And obviously Time Bomb is on the upper echelon of, like, good players, kind of like Crit. I just don't think it's so bad that you can write it off as not good in large scale. That's all. That's my only thing.
Yeah, I always think back to for the short time that I was in Republic, I was watching Jetpacks just do absolute work, like
Jetpacks
wrecking kids in large scale. I was like, holy shit.
Jetpacks, and then in Black Rose, Chimmy before he quit, and Rome, dude. Rome is ridiculous in large scale. Like, that dude is a beast.
Yeah.
He embarrasses people. It's actually hilarious.
Lost Soul says, Ninja looks good on a Doom Horse. Do I hear Ninja hate in this video? No, I don't think he did.
No, dude, Ninja for the win, dude. That serpent, though.
That serpent, though. You just heard facts. If you heard anything that you could describe as ninja hate, it's just facts. Scrab says Pog. Pog indeed, brother. That's it. We're done with the comments. Thanks everybody for leaving a comment. If you're wondering why we skipped last week, or if you didn't know we were skipping last week, what are you doing with your life? Join the Discord. That's the only place you're going to be able to get updates if we end up missing a day or delaying it like we had originally planned to do. We originally planned to delay it a day or two. We just ended up canceling the week entirely. So make sure you join the Discord, and literally, that's the only way you're going to get updates on what's going on, unless you are, like, in the Discords that, like, Frosty goes into and that I go into, and you ask us personally. So you gotta join the Discord if you want updates on that sort of stuff. Alright, moving on. We have a very special guest today. He offered to come on and hang out with us. You already know who it is if you can read titles. He offered to come on, hang out with us, talk a little bit about stuff. Some other people that definitely weren't him on his alt accounts also commented, requesting that we have him on. So everybody, welcome Sphierro to the podcast. Welcome, brother.
What's going on, guys? Thanks for having me.
Hey, no problem, dude. Now, you play Warrior, and you
Correct.
play Warrior very, very well. For those of you who are listening and or watching it that don't know Sphierro, he's a pretty insane Warrior. Probably at least top 10 in NA, I would have to say, honestly. And if you don't know what he does, you can check out his YouTube channel. It is going to be down in the description below. But I do plan on adding a little bit of his last video in right here, so just skip forward maybe a minute, 2 minutes if you're listening and not watching the video. Here's some of his last highlight video now.
Let me try this. Overkill, kill-tacular, kill-trocity, kill-majaro. Can you wait standing? I don't think you understand it. I can't stand you, not gonna take that sitting down. Okay, I slam my body, drop like drowning pool. He's 17, boy, stay in school. Ain't gon' make me lose my cool. That fan gon' blow right out the blue. I see you when I see you, like a movie trailer preview, huh? But he ain't coming back, so don't be waiting for that sequel. Your bros is getting broken like that ex that made you single. I reverse your hype entirely and see you in my review. I don't care about if it's feed you. Watch me blade the key like Riku. I'm so impressed you goofies while you Donald Duck for cover. Call your people, get your brother. I'm aiming at your mother if he think he's slick as butter. Can't believe it, grab your cousin while they dreaming under covers. Annihilate your lover. I shoot a jumper out the courthouse, still gon' beat the buzzer. They never should've let me out the cage. I've been in lying down, exposing all you liars now for what you really are deep down. Could've been this way before, but chose to be this way right now. Could've been on top before, but too lazy to go and take trash out. Yeah, okay, keep that shit with K, but hard like 2K. Get your face, how my space erase everything you make real quick, back how your shit, untrack your bitch, she pull close, get sucked in, damn, that's twin picker, she follow dicker, slip inside her DM, slip inside her, she get wetter, fuck it, so tech, give me lines like you sell tech, or shoot back like Tech 9, then 5x3 right at your neck, there's words that's done set, need a sensor like it's triple X, I triple up your debt, now he doubting if he better dead, I put his ass to bed, like little baby while he wag, cause clearly you upset, like you verified, I send a check that's pointed at your chest, what you want with me, nigga, what you want with me, this a Kodak moment, cause we in here smoking broccoli, my friend. That flashbang, white screen, no field of vision. Can't see what you can't hear in the distance. Cause your head bust, I scope you like this 1v1 or Russ. I keep that thing tucked, it's fucking, can I let you up? Flashbang, white screen, no field of vision. Can't see what you can't hear in the distance. Cause your head bust, I scope you like it's 1v1 or Russ. I keep that thing tucked, it's fucking, can I let you up? Exactly.
Man, isn't he crazy? He's insane. I don't know exactly what plays I just linked in there, but yeah, those things happen. So welcome, Sphierro. Welcome, man.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Music selection questionable, but the video, man.
Yeah, the music selection was a little different. So if you watch, I have 4 montages, I believe. The other 3 are more, EDM, electronic, more fun. But I wanted to do something else, change it up a little bit. So that was it. I had about 50% of the crowd love it. Other 50% hated it. But, you know, you win some, you lose some.
Do you want me to slap on My Hero Academia's You Say Run on top of it for you?
No.
That's always good, man. I mean, whatever you want to do. Or, hey, you could get the crowd's opinion. Maybe we'll hear some comments. Maybe see what your following thought of it. You know, if they like the music or not. You know, you never know.
Our following hates rap, dude. Most of them,
yikes.
they only like Harry Potter soundtrack. Most of them.
Never mind. Then go ahead and throw on a little wizard. Little music.
Yeah, dude.
So my kind of start off question here is have you played Warrior since you first started playing BDO, and B, how long have you been playing BDO?
Sure, yeah. I've been playing since it was like 2 days after the game launched. So not quite beta. But literally it was like whatever, if it launched on like a Friday, I played on Saturday. So pretty quick. But no, I played Warrior pretty much at the beginning. I think I played you know, that first week the game's so new, you're kind of messing around with all the other classes.
Right.
And like everything looks fun. Like literally every single class looks crazy. So I believe I actually started on a Sork. And this is back in the day when leveling like took weeks.
Yeah.
And like if you were level like 51, 52, 53, it was like, damn, you're crazy, dude. Like you're nuts. So I think I got a Sork. I played a Sork for like the first week of the game. Got to like level 20. And then that was pretty much it. And then I think I went to Warrior right after that.
Oh yeah, man.
This is pre-Awakened days, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh
yeah.
God, how did you go from Sork to Warrior pre-Awakened days?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember. I think I remember there were so many Sorks that it like bothered me. I was kind of like upset with playing like the class that everybody else was playing.
Oh, dude, I feel that on a spiritual level.
Yeah, I have a problem. I would like to call it a problem. I have like a problem that it's like I can't really play the flavor of the month or the popular classes. I just can't do it. It drives me crazy for some reason. But yeah, so everyone was playing Sork. It was like Sork was just like, this was back in the day when pre-awakened Sork was like could kill you in like 3 dark flames. I think was the ability. I forget. It's whatever like the forward guarded ability is. And it was just crazy. It was so strong that it was just annoying to me. It wasn't a lot of fun, just because of how strong the class was then, and everyone was playing it. So I wanted to try something else.
For the record, it was Dark Flame, Ultimate Dark Flame, Shard Explosion.
Okay, see,
GG,
hey, that
reroll your class.
that shows how much I remember, though, right? I haven't played the class since whatever that week after the game launched, and I still remember because it's the only ability. It was so. Well, this is obviously back in the day. I'm not trying to rub any Sorks the wrong way, but the class didn't have a whole lot of skill. Back in pre-awaken. I can really did either. I can
feel Frosty's fists just shaking on his desk right now.
I'm with you. I mean, back then it was Ranger Sork all day. I didn't play too much pre-awaken days. I only played for a short time, but I do remember when I was like trying to choose my class, coming from other MMOs. I was like looking to see which classes Discord, or not Discord, but at the time it was like the forum posts, which one was super popular, and Sork was like 10 times. Sork and Ranger were like 10 times more popular than any other class forums. So yeah, and all of them were just balance complaints. It was actually other classes in there
complaining on the channel.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah.
Not to get off topic, but fun fact that I don't know if I've ever told you, Frosty. The first class that I wanted to play, like before the game launched, just looking at like trailers and stuff, I actually wanted to play Tamer. I was like, dude, Tamer, let's go. I was like, dude, I'm going to have a dog, and apparently you can ride him, and it's going to be awesome. And then I went to make my Tamer, and I was like, wait, I have to be a little, like, tiny Asian girl? Nah, I'm good, thanks.
It
doesn't have to be Asian, dude. You can be a little white girl. A little black girl.
It's a lolly for either way you cut it though.
Yeah, either way, Chris Hansen's knocking at my door the second I create. The second I hit creation complete, Chris Hansen's knocking on my door, dude. I don't want that. But Man, let's jump into it because we got some stuff that we want to talk about. First thing on the list, BSL. So obviously, Sphierro, you've been participating in the BSL. We did a little bit as well. We participating next week. We did week 1. We're doing next week, I believe.
Awesome.
I know you got pretty far though, and we were wondering, how's I'm wondering more because Frosty has his questions. Here's my question. Since you got so far in the BSL and you had your specific composition, which was Warrior Lawn, right?
True.
How was it fighting other compositions, and what do you think composition-wise is like the best thing for the BSL?
Man, I think our comp was honestly relatively strong. I think it was on paper. I don't think it looks amazing. I think it looks mediocre. But we performed well, and I'll end this sort of thought with I don't actually believe composition is totally like end all be all. I think it's more of how the synergy is. I think this game's a lot about synergy, especially small scale. 2v2, 3v3. It's a lot about how you're playing with the other person. I think you could take, I don't know, this is a different topic, but quote unquote the worst class in the game, which I also don't believe that there is one. But if you were to pull a general opinion of everybody, I think you could still pick all three of, like, you could stack 3 of those of the quote unquote worst class, and you would still be able to pop off, or 2 of those. Obviously there's no sister classes in the BSL, but I don't think it really matters. I don't think it's a huge deal breaker. I mean, look at Inflict and Friendo. I mean, they run train in the BSL for the 2v2 specifically. I mean, they're very good solo as well, both of them winning their solo weeks during the 1v1s. But I think, both those classes are not considered very strong by the general public. But look at them, right? They're just disgusting in the 2v2.
Yeah. I find it interesting though, because I do think you're correct in saying that the synergy is what matters most, but I think composition does still exist. Like, sure. I'm not entirely convinced that you could slap any 2 classes together and they could perform exactly as well as if they were playing like 2 other classes.
No, maybe not finals material. I think it would be really, really hard. They'd struggle with it. But I think they could go deep.
Yeah.
As bad as deep as I usually make it. Which last week we did make it to the finals. But once again we met Friendo and Inflict, a Zerker and a Tamer, who once again are not, the classes alone are not known as, they're actually pretty strong in small scale, but they're not known as like very overall good classes. But they're just crazy in the 2v2.
Right. Also, Zerker, the thing that I never hear people talk about with Zerker is extremely powerful in best of type of fights because you're Q buff, right? So even like you pop your Q buff in round 1, let's say it's a best of 3, right? You pop your Q buff in round 1. First of all, the advantage that gives you, if you don't win whenever you pop your Q buff, I don't know, it's looking bleak. So then in round 2, let's say that you end up losing in round 2. If the Zerker team can just stay alive for just like, I don't know, a minute, then that Q buff is back off of cooldown for like round 3. And that gives them so much of an advantage. That's absolutely insane. People always talk about Q buff, and like, I'm not saying people don't bring up how OP Q buff is, but they don't bring up like the timing and how like nutty it is in best of formats. Like, it's just kind of crazy.
Yeah, that is actually really true. I fought Inflict in the 1v1 as well. And it's just so hard. It's such a hard matchup. I think personally, I'm sure we'll get into this later, but I personally struggle with Zerkers. I know other warriors don't, but I just for some reason I don't understand like their mechanics very well. So I struggle with it a lot, but absolutely just on like a flat out like doesn't matter. standpoint, the Zerker Q buff is just really, really strong in the best of. You're correct. I definitely agree.
Of course, I can't bring that up without also bringing up Warrior's E buff is pretty nutty.
Oh, absolutely. I don't know if you were to.
I think it's very underrated. People don't talk about it enough.
No, I don't. I literally don't think I've ever heard anyone even mention it. So what's the Warrior E buff do?
So
it makes him a Musa.
Yeah, pretty much. So the Warrior E buff is on paper. Once again, this is Rezlar kind of hinted at it, but on paper it looks like trash. It does not look very strong. It gives you just like the kind of general resistances that we all know don't really kind of work all at the same time. Like it's a bit of a toss. It's like kind of RNG if they're working or not. So it gives you the general resistances, but it gives you crazy movement speed and crazy attack speed. So there's no like damage buff on it or anything, but the way Warrior works is, and especially if you know what you're doing, you'll probably hear me say that a lot during this podcast because I kind of preach it. But if you know what you're doing on, I would say most classes, but especially Warrior, the E buff becomes absolutely deadly. You could get full combos that normally and some off, and like half of another combo off with just off of one CC. It's crazy. It's absolutely nuts.
Yeah, so essentially Frosty, and for everybody else who doesn't know what Warrior E buff does, it just makes him really fast. So a combo that would normally take up the entire duration that your opponent might be CC'd on the ground now only takes like half of that time. So now you can fill the rest of it with even more damage. It's kind of nutty, and people don't talk about it a lot, which I find kind of silly.
No,
yeah, it is really strong. For sure.
Does it stack with attack speed buffs or Z buff, or is it?
No, it doesn't stack with Z, but it does stack with. I mean, if we're talking about the BSL, there's no Alk Stones or any food buffs or anything running.
Right.
But yeah, on my own character, say I don't know, out in the open world or whatever, yeah, absolutely. I don't tend to lose if I pop any. It's really rare, and if I do lose, I'm upset. I'll tell you what. I'll be honest with you. I shouldn't be losing 1v1s if I pop Eva.
Yeah, I think Warrior's E buff is one of the best class buffs in the game, honestly. I
really wouldn't fight that at all. I mean, obviously, the only one I would always say is stronger is Zerker. But that's also coming from a warrior, so yeah, maybe people different classes.
I would say Zerker's is probably the strongest, followed closely by Witches and Wizards, and then Warriors.
Sure, I wouldn't deny that at all.
Because Witches and Wizards is, again, for a class that's just built around large scale, the fact that it gives their allies near them all AP is kind of nutty, honestly. Like, that's really crazy.
In group play, it's crazy. Isn't the Archer Q buff pretty crazy too? Because it's like 100% crit rate.
Oh, I don't know, honestly.
Yeah, I think it's pretty sure I've heard people complain about it.
Probably. What's the worst class buff? Isn't Tamer's E buff useless?
Tamer's got to be up there. Yeah, Tamer's got to be up there. I'm gonna actually switch to Tamer to read it because it's like. I mean,
is it more maximum weight? Does it give them 100 weight for 30 seconds?
Maximum weight plus 50 for 30 seconds. Yeah, basically. They can grind for 30 seconds longer before they have to run to town or maid.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, like with Tamer, I mean, you already move so fast. I think a lot of Tamers consider their hailing pet absorption their
ebuff. That's what I was about to say. What does that do? Because I know they always use that.
Yeah, so that one's on a really long cooldown. It's 5 minutes 30 seconds. The absorbing their hailing. But when you have it maxed out, for 60 seconds, you get plus 10 AP, plus 8 DP, plus 20% attack speed, plus 20% move speed, and plus 60% crit rate, which is fucking nuts. But also applying to 4 allies, your allies get the exact same buffs.
Really?
Yeah, so you and 4 other people get all of those stats, but their E buff is it's not as bad now because I think it doesn't destroy the pet. It used to actually kill the pet when you E buffed. but it's all DP plus 20, move speed plus 15%, all resist plus 30, and your Helling pet. The pet is invincible for 60 seconds, which, by the way, it's already basically invincible.
Wait, so does that mean Helling can walk in water when you're E-buffed?
No, that still despawns it.
No.
It's not that invincible. Relax, dude. That would be busted.
I believe normal Hailing, or how do you say the dog's name? I just call it the dog. But however you say, or I believe, like, normally on E-buffed, it has, like, the health bar of Kazarka.
Yeah.
Something like that. I've heard it's, like, basically unkillable to begin with already. Like, maybe it'll die during a siege. But I've yet to see it die.
Right.
Yeah.
Hold on. I have to double check the Q buff for... Okay,
Archer?
here's the Q buff for Archer. Down attack plus 15%. Down attack damage plus 15% for 30 seconds. Back attack plus 15% for 30 seconds. Critical hit damage plus 15% for 30 seconds. And crit rate 100% for 30 seconds.
Yeah, that's kind of nutty.
That's great. It's just so much extra damage. Yeah.
Down attack, back attack, crit damage, and they get 100% crit. Like, that's crazy. Yeah, that's probably it. That's probably at number 4, actually. I'm gonna bump Warrior down to number 5 after hearing that. That's crazy.
Yeah, that one's up there, man. That one is up there.
Still not as good as Zerker Q buff is still the superior range class, but that is really stupid. But Frosty, did you have anything else on the BSL side of things?
Yeah, is it hard for you to, like, when you're running around grinding, do people recognize you now, man? Are you famous?
Oh, man. Well, I'm not really one to put myself in an order on a list or anything. But I do really appreciate everyone that comes up and says what's up to me. I have it's kind of funny, man. I have, like, bits of people from everywhere. So, I know people come say what's up from old guilds that, maybe they had just joined the guild or they just started the game and they were brand new, but they were in the guild. And they kind of saw me as I guess a bigger dog in the guild, and they can come say what's up to me now, and that's always awesome. That's fun. So I have a lot of people from everywhere. I have people from my YouTube that say what's up and let me know that they enjoyed the last video, and I really appreciate that. So no, I definitely have people that come say hi to me. I wouldn't say I'm a household name yet, but I appreciate everyone still come say hi.
All right, so it's 2 last follow-up questions. One, what guild are you in?
I am currently a man up. I have been. I could do this quick if you'd like.
All right, go through raffle through.
I could do a quick one.
Rifle through all the guilds.
Absolutely. So, most recently, and probably I guess where I started and where people got to know me first was art.
Okay.
I don't know for newer players and especially EU may not know who art is or what the guild was. But that's kind of where I started to make a name for myself. And then right out of art, I went to Cho Nation. I was in Cho Nation for about a year. Strong guild, absolute nutcases over there. Really love those guys. And then I went, I believe, into Republic. I wasn't playing super hard, and Cho Nation wanted some more active players, so I was taking a bit of a break. So I went to Republic. Then I believe, help me, you guys know this. We merged with Hex.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
You killed Hex, yeah. Go on.
Yeah, it was all me. Absolutely, I ended the guild. No, and then I went to Man Up right out of that.
Right. Yeah, I remember logging in. I was GM and I was like, wait, Sphierro did what? Where did everybody go?
I got a question, kind of unrelated, off topic, but did I see McCann's back in Man Up the other day?
Yeah, he is back. He's I was talking to him the other day. He's just playing kind of casually at the moment. I don't know how Oasis was. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that was the guild he was kind of hanging out in.
Yeah.
So he was in Oasis with Nyashi as well, who I also respect.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask, if Nyashi joined Man Up again.
I don't think so. I haven't seen.
I don't think so, yeah.
But I don't think so. But I don't know how Oasis was. I'm not really sure. I didn't really ask him that many questions. But he's back, kind of just chilling. He's not trying to lead. He's not trying to take over again. He's just kind of here for a couple wars and see how it goes.
Yeah, just hanging out. Do you, since now technically you're his elder in the guild, do you make him call you warrior? Do you make him call you warrior senpai?
No, I do not. Because in my own eyes, I firmly believe that he is rank 1. I think he's the best warrior in NA, if not. I mean, I don't know about. I can't say world. I don't really know. I only focus on NA really. But he's strong. He's an absolute nutcase, as I would like to call it.
Yeah, he's really good. Do you think he's the best warrior, like in the history of the game, like in NA anyway?
Man,
because there's been a lot of good warriors that just don't play anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, I can't speak on this. I'm not really sure. I don't have.
Feels like you're trying to get me in trouble. I don't appreciate it.
You're trying to ruin me right here. No, I don't really know. I would just say currently, I think McCann's is top 3.
Does Trey still play the game?
I have no idea. I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm not sure.
That dude was nutty. Like,
I mean, I know who he is for sure.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, he was good. Absolutely, he was good. But I don't know.
You said top 3. Who are the other 2 that you'd put up there?
I don't rank.
You don't.
What a
don't give us your 1 through 3. Just give us your top 3 in no particular order. Go.
Okay. I would argue McCann's obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of respect for Vangerts.
Okay.
I think Vangerts is very strong right now. I think he's very good. And then I don't know, man. Maybe one of the, Snake has some good players.
Maybe someone
it's
from
hard.
Snake. All right.
It's hard to tell, man. Here's the thing about higher gear on Warrior is it's very easy to look like you're absolutely popping off when you have 280.
Oh, he's trying so hard not to talk shit about Zethian right now.
No. I have a question. Has the Warrior community heard of, seen, dueled, fought against George? Have you heard of George from Black Rose?
Absolutely not.
Dude, George is like... So I think McCann's is probably number 1. Vanguard's probably number 2. But I would love to see George against these guys, because George is one of those, like, he doesn't talk. He rarely talks in Discord when he's on. He doesn't talk about himself. He doesn't brag about PvP. But, like, all he does is PvP. Like, that dude is such a good warrior, but he's like one of those people that just doesn't really talk about PvP. Yeah, I would love to see him in there. And
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of hidden warriors that are. It's funny now that I've started to, become more, prominent in the community. I have a lot of warriors that want to just, do a couple duels, spar against me for a bit, and see how they stack up. And there's a lot of strong, kind of no-name warriors, which is, I mean, kind of the, normal for anything in the world. But I think it's cool. I guess I did find I don't know if you guys know a guy named Bacon TP or Shosen. But he's also very good. I would also rank him up in top 3 in my eyes.
What do you think? What do you think of Onyx Ace?
Onyx and it's funny. I've been around him. We've been around each other for a very long time. He was in Show Nation with me while I was in there for about the whole year I was in there, and we've never interacted. So I really couldn't tell you. I've never really seen him. I've never fought him. Honestly, I can't speak on it.
I was really hoping you would say that he's one of the best warriors to ever exist, because he clapped me a couple months ago.
No, he's good. He's good. There's no reason to be ashamed if you lose to him. Also, there's actually one person playing today that I would for sure put McCann's below, one warrior. Have you ever heard of Cutthroat G?
I have absolutely no idea who that is.
That's all. We can move on from there. That's all I had. I just had to get that off my chest, dude. Cutthroat
All right.
is the most aggressive warrior NA easily.
Yeah, he's a good buddy. I love that kid. Good.
Is he still red? I gotta know. Is he still red?
No, he hasn't been red. He hasn't been red for a couple of months.
Oh, good for him. He reformed.
Yeah. He went positive. He was tired of getting harassed. He was actually catching some, not cool along the lines of DDoSing and stuff. So it's really not. I mean, that's not okay on any level. But he was kind of sick of stuff like that. He was getting threats and other definitely not like appropriate stuff for a video game. But so he was over it. He wanted to come hang out with me and actually be able to walk into Velia, I think.
He couldn't RP.
Yeah, that's all I do. Yeah,
he couldn't RP with Sphierro and Velia, so he had to go get positive karma.
Yeah, don't tell anyone though. It's a secret.
Right.
All right. Well, we've already talked about it quite a bit, but can we move on to just Warrior more generally speaking?
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm kind of curious too. Specifically, so Warrior. Let's just say warrior in general, no specific person, but just a really well piloted warrior 1v1 ranking. Where do you put warrior kind of compared to the other classes?
Oh man, so yeah, I'd argue. I mean, I wouldn't. There's definitely two conversations. So I think warrior, like the question you just asked me, I would put very high.
Okay.
Man, I don't want to name all the classes, but if it was like a tier list, I'd probably put him high A to S for sure.
Okay.
There's if S being the highest.
All right.
And I would argue, obviously, there's a handful of classes also in that S tier. I do not think he's that warrior's like the end all be all. But I would argue he's just aggressively strong, very strong. If you know what you're doing, which once again I said I was gonna say that a lot,
right?
But
so
I think I really preach it. Yeah.
Give us one or two more that you'd put up there in the A or S category with warrior.
So okay, I don't. This is always a touchy subject for people, so I don't like to rustle any feathers or stir any shit. But what I'm about to say is coming from a warrior player. That's all I've ever really played.
Okay.
And it's usually stuff that I struggle with, or that I've seen just do exceptionally well against either me or my fellow warrior. But I would argue Zerkers.
Oh my! Of course he's gonna say.
There's Rezlar. I knew he was gonna get upset. All right, who else?
I'm kidding.
So,
Zerker's obviously very high up there.
once again, I think obviously, I mean, this is coming from a warrior who only that's all I've ever played, so I don't really know.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little tricky for me to kind of like step back and be like, well, when I was playing Tamer, Zerkers weren't very strong, but whatever. I understand it. Personally, for me, I struggle a lot with Zerkers and Tamers.
Yeah.
Tamers are absolutely crazy in my opinion. I think it's
Tamers are fucking gods in 1v1s.
Yeah, I think it's a very underplayed class. I don't think it's the general public thinks they're just kind of trash and well, whatever, who cares? It's a Tamer. No one cares.
If you made a tier list of like 1v1ers, S tier has to include Tamer, Berserker, and arguably Ninja. Maybe you could put Ninja in A tier, but Tamer and Berserker absolutely have to go in S tier.
Absolutely. So I don't know if I mean, that's genuinely how I feel. I'm now. Those aren't just like cop out answers.
Right. No, for sure.
I swear I struggle with both of them, especially good ones. Oh, really tricky. Yeah, absolutely. I think that was the question.
Yeah. Tier lists are hot right now, Frosty. Maybe that's what we should do. We should make tier lists videos.
It's very popular. You guys should do a little like short, 30-minute episode one of these days and have the tier list pulled up on screen and everything. That'd be fun.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
You could piss off a whole community. It'd be awesome.
I'm trying to just slowly be really slow and grind. And now someone's asked me to duel for spot. So
we're about to hear keys.
We're about to hear keys, dude. Shit
So
outta get.
Sphierro, I don't know. I actually don't think you would know this fact about me unless you just heard about it. But I actually used to play warrior, before.
I actually did. I think you spoke on it in one of the last videos, so I do know this light.
Yeah, so I was an okay warrior. I like to think of myself as slightly above average in almost everything that I do. And warrior was no difference. I was pretty good. I wasn't like really good. I wasn't like breaking new grounds or anything, but I was pretty good.
Okay.
The CC changes, man. It wasn't the CC changes that made me re-roll off of warrior. I'd actually re-rolled a couple weeks before that even happened. But the CC changes to me were absolutely brutal and basically solidified that I wouldn't return to the class. So for you who's been playing warrior for so long, what were kind of your thoughts when the CC changes first hit and the protection changes and all that? And then what are they kind of now that we've been on it for what, like a year and a half, 2 years, something now?
Totally.
A year and a month, actually.
A year and a
Yeah.
month? It feels like it's been longer.
I know. It was like April 2018.
Damn.
Yeah. So I would argue the beginning was horrible, obviously, as anything like that would be. You know, I've been playing. You know, I was playing the class for 2+ years, and everything I knew, everything I had learned, everything that I felt comfortable on was just gone, right? Especially on warrior with the lingering super armor block.
Mm-hmm.
It's a completely different game without it. Now that being said, I love it. I think the changes are. I thought the changes were awesome after about a month playing and actually learning. I love it. I think it's awesome. The way I see the changes is it really separates the really mechanical warriors from the ones that are just really geared, and the ones that, you know, are still playing like the old CC changes, which I know there are, because they just have so much gear that all you really have to do is block and slashing the dead, and people die.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's fine. I understand it. I'm not gonna knock you if you can do that. But the class is just, it's so, the depth just became huge. The skill, the ceiling, like, pushed so high for warrior, which I love personally. I'm the kind of person that would like to struggle to get really good than just have everyone kind of sitting on the same bus staring at each other like, hey, we're all kind of here and that's it, right? We've all made it.
We all press Q and we live happily ever after. So is part of that though, because we had two months ago, maybe 3 months ago now, we had a pretty significant warrior buff. And one of the shining parts of that was you guys can Q cancel a lot more skills.
Oh, absolutely.
Did that sort of change everything? Because I think before that change, I mean, I mostly heard negativity from warriors, but ever since then, all of a sudden the good warriors were like starting to show themselves again.
The other day I had a kid cancel out of grave digging and go straight into, I don't remember exactly what it was, but some other shit. And I was just like, wait, what? Like, because I didn't know you could do that. So I was sitting there like, wait, what just happened to me? Wait, hold on. I was so confused.
Yeah, no, it's really strong. So once again, it's just, we're pushing the ceiling, right? So if, you know, when I was talking about it, when you guys asked just a minute ago, and I said that the ceiling raised, it raised again. So I love it. I'm having a blast. But no, me personally, I don't think, even before Q canceling, I still think that the class was not weak, but not strong either. It's not. I don't think it's broken. Honestly, I would argue, and this is I think very hard for people to say about their own classes, but I would argue warrior is very balanced right now. I just think the discrepancies. So if someone, I hear actually more than I think I should hear, is people telling me that Warrior's broken. Warrior's the best class in the game. I don't want to talk about it. And I'm like, well, it's strong, but I think it's just balance. I think the discrepancy is that people are running into like the top 5, top 10 Warriors on NA. Like I hope you think it's broken, right? Then if the best players of the class can't make that class look like the best class in the game, I don't want to play the game. If that makes sense.
I like that. I like that phrase. Hold on, I'm writing that down. If the best players of the class
I'm curious,
can't make the
Sphierro,
class seem broken, I don't want to play. That's so good.
Did you watch the episode with Laven in it? I'm curious.
Yeah, I did.
So he, in particular, had quite a bit of Warrior. I don't want to call it hatred, but I don't know what complaints. Yeah. We'll call it complaints. Sure.
Which I actually just shout out to Laven. I 4-0'd him in the last weekend.
Oh, so it's justified then.
Yeah. So so you didn't really finish your question, but I kind of thought I kind of understand where you're going with it. I personally think Ninja's, it's a bit of a skill matchup. So, and that's totally fine. I think, well, I said this earlier in this, just, 30 minutes ago, but I said I struggle personally a lot with Zerkers. I don't think that's really a class to class thing. I would argue that's just me being bad against Zerkers. And I'm not trying to talk trash. I think Laven's a phenomenal ninja. I think he's one of the best. But I think he might just struggle with wards, and I think that's okay.
Yeah.
And it's Laven, so he's fighting the best, right? If he's fighting the top 5, top 10 warriors on NA constantly, and that's the only warriors you're fighting, oh my god, the class, it's just gonna look absolutely insane.
Yeah, it's
right?
gonna be rough.
You're gonna be like, well, this is stupid, right? This doesn't make sense. But and especially if you just don't do well against it, oh my god, skip it, right? It's just gonna be horrible. You're gonna have a miserable time.
The gap too, like it is kind of one of the things that I love about, and I know like everyone likes to hate on the game and the balance, but it's kind of one of the things that I love about the game, and some classes this disparity is bigger than others, but when you fight a bad warrior and then you fight a good warrior, even if they're the exact same gear, it's so different. Like it's just so different, and there's stylistic differences. Like massive stylistic differences between a lot of classes, even the classes where everyone thinks it's like the exact same matchup. I mean, I get it all the time. I was like dueling. I like spend a lot of time on Arsha and on Mystic, and I get a lot of like, oh, well, this dude just he runs away, or he's super defensive, like, because everyone's so used to Mystics just being kind of in your face.
Yeah,
and I just don't play that way, and I never have, and I probably never will. It's just what I don't like. But I love that there's that I can have a different style than everybody else that plays the same class, And the same thing on Warrior. Like when I fight you, you're pretty. I would say you're like kind of middle of the road of like methodical versus aggressive. I haven't fought you that much, but when I have fought you, it feels somewhere in there. Whereas when I fight Cutthroat, like that dude is nonstop in my face. That dude, he has no off button. Like that dude is just okay. If I'm not moving towards him, I'm losing. So I'm going towards him.
Totally. Yeah, he's, as I like to joke, he's in your throat.
He's in your throat.
I mean, dude's. It's funny. It gets him killed more often than not, I would argue. But it's that's how I view it, right? But I think that's what I love so much about the game is I would say you could cut my clips, McCann's clips, and Vanguard's clips into a video, and you would be able to tell who, and no, right? If you had like Control U turned on, like you had the HUD turned off, everything, like it was just the character models, like doing, fighting in PvP, you'd be able to tell who each clip was. I would argue. Now that might be.
Well, you could definitely tell McCann's because his character model's an ugly baby.
It's so ugly, dude. I actually did you see?
Okay, it's also looks like he's playing RuneScape in 2005.
Did you see his recent video, the movement video?
Sure, I thought that was a great. I I didn't text him. I DM'd him and said, I thought it was a great video. I really liked the uniqueness of it. You know,
Yeah.
it's so easy to just clip together stuff. I mean, I do it, right? You clip together dope clips, you know, popping off, and you just fucking slap montage on it and you print it, right? You just send it out. But, you know, I thought it was cool that he's kind of focused on, you know, half the clips in that video, he wasn't even killing people. He was just moving, which I really thought was a cool idea.
Well, one of the things is like you talking about Warrior Berserker. One of the things that stood out to me in that video is he is dancing around that Zerker forever, and that Zerker cannot grab him. And it's not like he's far. He is right next. Did you see that video, Rezlar?
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
Dude, he is just next to this Zerker, and it's like a movement video or whatever, but he is next to the Zerker that's trying to grab him, and he never moves away. He's in melee range the entire time, and the Zerker cannot grab him because the way he's moving. It was actually really, really cool to see.
Yeah, it's awesome. I think that's what makes the class, you know, depending on who you talk to, they'll say Warrior's broken. It's too strong.
Yeah.
Something, nerf it, please. And then the other half of the community goes, well, you know, I don't struggle against Warriors. I don't think they're that good. I don't think they're that strong. So it's really depending on who you're fighting. I mean, that's why, you know, touching back on Laven, I think is why he thinks Warrior is such a strong class. I mean, I would argue it is a strong class, but that's also because I'm fighting top tier Warriors, and I also play the class, I would like to say, at a higher level. And so I understand what I can do with it, and I understand how strong it is.
Yeah. Now, I know you enjoy 1v1s, and your specialty is in 1v1s, but let's move away from it for a second, because we want to talk about Warrior more generally. Now, we're going to talk about large scale, and it's hard to talk about Warrior in large scale without talking about the CC changes, because I think you'd be hard-pressed to argue that Warrior is better or even equal to before the removal of lingering and everything else Warrior in terms of large scale. So what is large scale like now that you've had, you know, a year and a month to kind of master the art of Warrior in large scale compared to before they did all the CC changes, and how does it stack up against like other frontline classes in large scale right now?
Sure. It's miserable. Honestly. It's horrible. This is, I mean, I've been in Siege guilds for the last like year and a half, almost 2 years now. And especially when the CC changes went through, I spend most of my time looking at a gray respawn screen and or on my back. So it's definitely not fun. It's definitely not. I tell people this when they ask me, you know, hey, should I reroll Warrior? You know, you make it look fun. It looks so sick. It looks like a strong class. I usually ask, what do you like to do? Do you want a Siege? Because if the answer is yes, I would play something else. You know, if that's like your main focus is Siege.
Really? It's that bad?
So it sounds like I'm crying a bit. It's playable, sorta, ish. So here's the thing: is I used to play way before the CC changes, right? Where lingering super armor was a thing, and that was crazy. I mean, well, I wouldn't say. I mean, it was crazy. It was really strong, but everything else was strong as well. So it like kind of was still fine. But it was actually playable in large scale. So if for the audience that don't understand how the lingering super armor worked on Warrior, is you used to get a buff from holding block for like a second and a half, and that buff would last 1.5 to 2 to 3-ish seconds depending on ping. It's kind of an unknown number. It was kind of like RNG how long it lasted. And it was just lingering super armor. So I could block for a second, let go of block, and walk around, like not even use movement abilities or any skills, and I couldn't get CC'd. It doesn't matter what you throw at me. Obviously grabs, but any like flying CCs, like random CCs, it wouldn't do it. And that in large scale was just strong. It was just good, but it was still playable. I wouldn't say it was broken because everything else had, you know, all these super armor. That obviously this is post CC changes, but everything else was also similar to that. So Warrior was just kind of in the same playing field, and it was fun. It was a good time. You could actually play. But now it's about praying not to get CC'd with an engage, and then just using your 2 to 3 SAs for damage, and then basically just dying and praying. I mean, you're just kind of hoping no one's looking at you and hoping you don't get hit by a like wild archer in the back, like just crazy. That's probably my biggest complaint at the moment, is specifically large scale. I don't think Archer is actually broken. Everyone else in the community does at the moment, but I would argue they're actually pretty balanced, but that could be another topic. But in large scale, it's wild CCs that just kind of hit you, and from anywhere, from everywhere. You can't see it, you can't outplay it. There might be people thinking like, well, just be better. It just doesn't work like that. The second I let go of block, I'm CC'd. So it's either I stand still with block up, wait for my block to get shredded and die, or try to move and pray.
Yeah. So is Warrior even still like a frontline class, or do you have to play it more like a flanker now?
Oh, it's absolute. I would definitely not call it a frontline class. I do not think it is a frontline class at all.
Yeah.
Mystic, for example, does everything I would do, but way better as a frontline. We play Warriors are usually in the backline. Actually, we kind of sit next to Wizard, Witch, Archers, Rangers, and we're basically grabbing, which also isn't super armored. So that's a whole nother topic. That's just a total nightmare. But we're basically trying to CC, grab, stop people from jumping into our backline in large scale.
Yeah, I do have to add, and I've been saying this for a little while now, as I've been sieging more and more, and especially with different guilds. I don't think there is a front line outside of Wizard and Witch right now. I just don't.
Sure. I mean, for the most part, I would agree with you.
And it's partly because of PA, right? Like if you're PA, anyone with PA is the same kind of front line as anyone else with PA. Yeah, if you have 320 DP, that's great. But when you have PA, you have 1,320 DP, and that's even better. So
totally,
that helps. And then Wizard and Witch, they guarantee get their PA because they cast it. So there's no RNG. True. And they have damage reduction on a lot of their Awakening super armors that every other class just doesn't have. Even if you have super armor on a skill, you don't have damage reduction like they do. So it's when PA wears off, it's rough. Sure. It's a rough time.
I mean, absolutely. I mean,
yeah. But
honestly,
the movement though. No, I was gonna say the movement is like, it's an interesting thing because I mean, you guys have, all right. So obviously you have head chase, which is too long of a cooldown to be super reliable, right? You can only use it once every once in a while, and then you have
it's also kind of RNG if it goes off. That's a whole nother conversation,
right? And
head chases,
and then you have the forward F and pre-awakening, which is frontal guard,
right.
Which now
it's frontal guard for half of it.
It's frontal guard for half, and now you have, like, when you see with archers, I mean, wizards and witches have moved to like 75% of their skills are ranged now. Like, they're not using their awakening as much unless the ball is straight engaging with the ball, which is kind of less and less happening. Like, you see more of these standoffs from range, which is archer, ranger, zerker with Q buffs, wizard, witch. So absolutely. Even frontal guard on a lot of these classes is, I don't know, it's just tough. Like, I don't know kind of where I'm going with it, but it's just one of these things that I've noticed recently that, man, like it's just hard to move forward now in ball versus ball, especially at the high end. Like, if you're man ups level or any higher, you're just everyone's AP is so high. You can't get hit by 6 meteors anymore.
Yeah. Warrior has a lot of frontal as well, which is not a complaint at all, but it becomes a bit of a complaint when you are engaging and I get halfway there, my block is already gone. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's nuts. I can't even get near the other group without being almost completely useless. And what's almost more frustrating for the people that don't actually play Warrior or don't really have blocks or traditional blocks, the Warrior, and I believe Valk, I can't speak on it though. Warrior for sure has a mechanic that when the block is broken, there's a stagger. Called, like, most people, I probably don't even know that this is like a 4 or even something that's in the game, but you get staggered, so you get kind of knocked back. It's like I don't know how, it's almost like a knockback, but it's miserable. It completely freezes up. It completely stops your animations. It completely stops whatever you were doing, and you were now in this like stagger animation, which when you're playing Warrior quickly or trying to perform something fast, you end up slow swapping almost 100% of the time. I slow swap so often when I get staggered, especially in large scale. And then obviously everyone knows this. If you slow swap in a large scale fight, you're dead. I mean, what's the point, right? You might as well just turn the game off. But yeah, it's frustrating. It's absolutely it's a little upsetting that it's not quite as prominent as Warrior used to be.
Yeah, so we've had this thing for a while, or at least I have. Frosty kind of agrees with me, kind of doesn't, but what would you think about the idea of removing PA from a large scale? I know we're kind of dipping into territories we didn't mean to, but
sure,
this is always a question that I like asking people, because PA is such an integral part of large scale, and it's always interesting to get people's opinions on what PA does now, what it should be in their minds, what it could be, that sort of thing. What are your thoughts on PA, and how could they make it better, if you think they should do anything to it at all?
Sure. Man, PA is a really tricky question. It's like a bit of a can of worms at this point. But if you had asked me this question a year and a half ago, I would have said get rid of it. I would have said just scrap it. It doesn't make sense. The game is fine without it. Like, in my head, I couldn't see a reason for it. But this is also, 2 years ago when, I don't know if I'm getting the timing correct, but there was, Awakenings weren't a thing yet, and people's AP was, everyone had under 200 AP. So I think then I would have said scrap it. But the longer the game has been around and the more changes and the more we see from this game, I don't know. Honestly, I know it's such a disappointing answer, but I have no idea. I think if you were to remove it completely, I think the fights would just be these like weird gimmicky, like who can kind of desync the servers faster, and like who can like wipe half the other guild, like in a weird like back and forth engagey sort of. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I have no idea.
So let me throw a couple ideas at you, because we've been talking about this for quite a while now.
I love it. Go for it.
One of the things that I've said on the past, and you might have heard me say it, is what if PA, instead of giving you 999 DP, what if it gave you super armor? Literally just traded out DP for super armor for 7 seconds. What thoughts on that? What would that do?
Yeah. I mean, I don't hate it. I like it better, I think, than completely removing it. I mean, look, in general, I hate PA. I think it's slow. I think it makes the game boring. It makes turns into a waiting thing where, two top guilds are staring at each other, dancing around, making faces, spamming, general chat, until both teams have PA up again. And then it's basically just, at that point, it's who can out mind game the other guild to pop their PAs before they pop their PA. I don't think it's fun. I like that better, but then the conversation kind of comes down to, how fast are people getting exploded? I mean, at a certain AP level, and everyone's sitting, especially like the fights between, for example, Show Nation and Snake. I mean, it's nuts. I mean, that would just be can we explode them fast enough sort of thing? And I think the answer would kind of be yeah. It'd be just kind of this like RNG. Every fight would be kind of RNG. Like, can we kill them? Can we run in, and can we just have like 3 wizards TP in and just wipe the whole guild? I would say, yes, it could end up being like that.
Yeah, that's my only thing. Like the super armor idea of like not being CC'd is interesting. I can't imagine like, okay, Snake has 50 plus Wiz Witch. That Meteor's a guild. Like now they don't even have to double TP and dive. Just the Meteor kills you.
Totally. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's such a tricky question. And I totally understand, why, Cacao or Pearl Abyss. At this point, I'm confused as to who actually is changing the game. But whichever one, I can definitely understand why they're struggling. I'm sure they have this question, thrown out occasionally, and no one has an answer for it. Because what are you gonna do at this point? I mean, like I said earlier, I think 2 years ago, if you had asked me this question, I would have just said skip it, get rid of it. Who cares, right?
Right.
And I think the game back then would have been totally fine.
So let me throw another one at you, and this is one that, if I remember correctly, I think someone commented, or maybe Frosty came up with it. I don't remember. But what if PA, whenever it was casted, it was an area buff? So that little bubble that you see whenever the casters use PA, what if you had to stand in that area to receive PA instead of it being a buff that went onto your bar?
I like that, honestly, a lot more. I've never even heard that. That's awesome. I think that's actually fun.
Yeah, Frosty, did you come up with that idea, or was that something that a user came up with?
I stole the idea from Blade and Soul, because that's how the Force Master had a buff like that, where you could throw up. It looked similar, like, the animation you see when you PA? You'd see basically that, and everyone behind that bubble shield. It was more of a forward guard, I guess, in that game. But it was everyone behind that bubble shield basically had massive damage reduction if a skill had to go through it to hit you.
I think that's really fun. I think that's really cool. I've really never heard of that, but I like it a lot. It kind of reminds me of, Winston from Overwatch, or I guess more recent Apex Legends, which is also just kind of a rip from Winston. But what Gibraltar? I mean, that's a similar, it's a similar idea.
Mm-hmm.
That's our first Overwatch reference on here.
Is that? That's weird. I know.
Yeah,
I'm kind of mixing games.
You knew, dude. You damn noob.
Dude, we have right, currently speaking right now. If you're watching the YouTube video, you are watching Paladins, which is the free-to-play high-res version of Overwatch on Steam. So
sure, there you go.
Because
I'm sure
I'm
sure they have a similar thing.
I don't actually play long enough BDO anymore to get like an hour and a half to 2 hours of recording of it. So watching other games now.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, maybe we should all clip a Winston.
But anyways, I'm a DPS Mercy main for Overwatch fans.
Oh boy. Battle Mercy.
Yeah, dude, I'm a Battle Mercy. I mean,
I think that'd be fun. I think that would add. So my, feeling on it would be, make it so you have to play either around it or with it. I don't think you have a choice with the current PA. I think it's just kind of like, did they PA? Did they PA? Oh, they did. Okay, try to run away. Don't die. I think it's so stupid. I think it's so boring. I think that would be fun, because the shot caller especially would have to kind of be good enough and have to be able to pivot with an entire guild to decide, okay, flex team, try to get inside the bubble and kill who's ever in the bubble. Everyone else, like, try to play around the bubble. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think it would just be kind of fun. I think it'd be fun. I think it'd add another layer.
I think that was one of the complaints I heard, though, originally, I think when we talked about it, is that it would be so much stress on a shot caller, right? Because now they have to be 100% on their positioning and where to tell armies to go. Because if someone...
That just sounds like a higher skill level to me.
No, it sounds really cool. It's just like, as a shot caller, that... there's so much stress already.
Two more suggestions.
Sure.
One of which was, and this one I'm pretty sure I heard in our Discord one day. PA is on a cooldown now, like a personal cooldown. Like, once you receive PA, you can't receive it again for another like 2 minutes, let's say. Okay. So essentially, what it would do it would make PA still function the same at the start, but you can no longer keep PA up for like a minute straight by rotating your witches and wizards.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it. I also don't think it. I mean, I never seem to get PA'd. I don't know why. I don't know if I'm like playing poorly or I'm like not actually standing.
Well, theoretically, this would help that situation.
Well, I think
If you
that's
think
Would
about
it though? If
since you're a
if
war,
I didn't receive it to the first place though, wouldn't that be good for me? Wouldn't this be a buff to PA for me?
yeah, but
Because then I'd get it. I'd get it on the second rotation.
but sir, you because you play warrior, you were put on defense months ago. So
Sphierro, you can't get PA when you're in the flame tower, my dude.
Listen. Maybe that's the problem then. Maybe that's the problem. Yeah, no, I should. I don't know why they even have me on offense. Honestly, I mean,
No,
I don't do anything other than go out and gray screen.
So essentially, it would increase that change specifically. When you think about it, it would increase the power of PA initially, but it wouldn't have these like super long extended fights because you would essentially what the game would turn into is you would just have all of your witches and wizards PA at once. So let's assume that the personal PA cooldown is on the same cooldown as actual PA. Let's just assume that. So what you would just do is you would have everybody PA at once cover your entire guild now, because we're assuming that with this change it would also mean that PA doesn't overlap anymore. That's the biggest issue and why people don't receive PA now is that PA can overlap.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't happen anymore. So it would have 7 seconds of complete invulnerability, but then it would just be normal fights after that. That's essentially what it would change.
Okay.
So it would buff it on the initial engage, but then it actually is just straight up not a thing for the next like 3 minutes or whatever.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I think in the current if we were talking like realistically, I think that is the most realistic change that you've shouted out to me so far. I still don't love it though. I don't hate it. I don't love it though. I think it would probably help a bit. I think I'd probably be actually excited about that change. But it's just not quite as, I guess, fun. I'm looking for like that the bubble idea. I think is really cool. I like that a lot actually.
Yeah.
But this one is more realistic.
So let me throw something even more realistic at you, because
go.
I think this is probably, if anything were to happen, this would be the most likely. What if they changed PA to give DP that was based off of the DP you already have? To give more DP to lower DP people and less DP to higher DP, but it's no longer $9.99. Let's say it averages out to like $4.50.
Yeah. That could be
so
cool.
It's still very possible with enough people gangbanging on top of each other to kill people, but you're still very tanky.
Yeah. So I like that better than the last one, that's for sure. It's just kind of, that one to me ends up sounding like I don't know. I blacked out. I would say, I don't know. I mean, it's better. That's it. Once again, more realistic as well. It's just kind of like a similar thing. I think that's probably my second favorite, though. I would say.
I still I kind of like the idea of, what if PA was a 3-minute cooldown and everyone just had it for themselves and that's it? No one class had it. So everyone PAs only themselves, doesn't affect any party members.
Okay. Like it becomes like a...
So it's like a V.
Like
it's almost like V, but it's 3 minutes long and everyone gets it. And still, I think the shot callers would dictate it, right? They would tell you when to do it, or, and maybe they would do groups or like waves of... There'd be waves of pushes instead of the whole ball pushes at once. Like, hey, PA group 1, I want this wave to go in first, this wave to go in second. That way everyone gets it guaranteed, and everyone has it in case of emergency if you need it. Maybe 3 minutes is too short. Maybe it'd be 5 minutes. I don't know, but something.
I would say the longer the better, in my opinion. I think
once a day.
A 12-hour cooldown, dude. 12 hours.
Well, here's something. I mean, I know, I understand that was a joke, but look at something like the 1,000 HP that you can pop.
Ooh, what if they turned it into a guild buff?
That's what I'm saying.
Hmm.
You like that one a little bit?
Yeah, that's actually not a bad idea.
Oh,
So only the GM can cast it.
dude.
It hits for sure. It hits, and then like whatever. Make
But-
it 10 seconds. So make the buff maybe even a little bit longer, but it goes away and that's it. It's like on a 6-hour cooldown or whatever. The
But-
1000 XP or 1000.
But in order to make that work, for the love of God, allow GMs to hotbar their guild skills.
Oh sure, totally.
Yes, I was gonna say, dude, that was gonna be my thing. For all GMs everywhere, please let them hotbar that one. Oh my god! Wait, what would the cooldown be in the guild buff one?
I don't know. What
I feel like it
making
doesn't
a-
need to be that long. I feel like you should get at least a couple uses in a war. So maybe like 45 minutes. So you get to use it twice in a node war.
2 times.
I
Dude,
mean, even 30. I would say
the
30.
problem though is that seriously, dude, everyone would just die. Like one person.
I mean, that's what I'd agree.
So here's the problem with it. As much as it makes Wizard and Witch so important and strong in a war, if it's 30 minutes or 45 minutes, that means after it's cast for 29 minutes and 59 seconds, Mystic, Striker, Zerker, Warrior, Tamer, Ninja, Kuno, all these classes are completely useless. Because you can't get anywhere near a ball because all the range skills.
I mean, nerf Witch and Wizard. Easy.
But that doesn't really account for Dream of Dooms hitting you, Zerker Q buff hitting you, Archers hitting you, Rangers hitting you, DKs hitting you. You have to nerf everybody.
The first thing you need to do, remove Mystic from the game. Second thing you need to do...
I mean,
No, I don't know.
PA's
It's
weird.
There'd have to be a lot of changes.
Yeah. PA's tricky right now, honestly. It's weird.
It's-
I don't really love the you know how everyone has like Vs? That would just drive me crazy. Having every class with a PA, I mean that just drive me
Dude,
nuts.
Here's the thing about PA. Like, no matter what you change about it, if you change anything, aside from just like a number, right? If you change a number, maybe it's fine. If you change anything besides a number in the formula, then it's going to change how large scale is played. And that's just the fact, honestly, because large scale is just designed around that fucking skill.
I actually, sorry, I remember what I was going to say about, you said like changing the numbers. So like if you had higher DP, it would just like, instead of being like 999, it'd be like 400 or whatever you were saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that is not a horrible idea as well, but there'd be so many complaints and like tweaking with it that I think it in the end could work, but I think just in general, it would be, super DP people being like, this is stupid. It doesn't even really help me now. And like, it'd be like, cause the number has now changed and it is like not as much. And then people would be complaining and tweak it, make it more, make it less, make it more, make it less. That would be my theory on that. But once again, I think that's actually not a bad idea.
I don't know. It's hard. It's
just hard. It's the topic is a total can of worms, in my opinion. It's so tricky. There's no beginning and end, and like, it's just it's a mess.
I was gonna say the other option we have is just give everyone 347 DP by default. Then we all feel pretty damn good,
just the whole everyone gets too much DP.
Maybe we're looking at it in the wrong direction. Maybe PA should be an offensive skill. I mean, do you ever think of that?
Oh yeah, yes, because we're not dying fast enough. Yes.
No,
yes.
I was actually gonna say the opposite. What if you could use PA as a debuff to reduce the enemy's damage? What if it was like a hidden AP reduction instead of a DP increase?
It's so tricky, but how would you know when it hit you?
Well,
it's so
I love that idea, and I've said this for a while now. If they ever made like a necromancer or a curse class, that could be one of their skills where you throw an AoE and 10 people deal 25% less damage for whatever 8 seconds or 10 seconds.
I like that a lot. That's actually really. I've always heard and read and seen people mentioning like, we want a next class, necro class, whatever. And I was always like, well, what are you gonna do, right? Like, what would the class be? That would be sick. I didn't even think about it like that. Like, that'd be awesome.
Well, the next class is going to be a shy, so get ready for that.
A boomerang throwing light giver. God damn it.
Is that factual?
I hope the next class you were wishing for was a midget with a boomerang, because that's what you're getting.
Oh my gosh, we're rerolling.
I don't know if it's actually confirmed yet, but they found a lot of game files and pictures and things, so the odds are very likely, but who knows?
Yeah, it's pretty high. Well, I just hope it's not super ranged. I just don't think it's really necessary.
It's Archer, but it's literally going to be Archer, but now all of their attacks hit twice, because it goes and then it comes back.
Okay. No, you just give me like a stroke, man. I almost just like freaked out, bro. Anxiety attack over it.
All right, let's move on. This is long, and we got more stuff we want to talk about. We're done. PA. Sure. Nobody knows what to do about PA.
It's too much.
Yeah, that's essentially the conclusion we've reached. Frosty, next topic. Go.
Okay. Underwater sea areas. So first of all, who's excited and who's calling in sick from work? I can't be the only one.
I mean, I won't lie to you. I'm not that excited.
That's because you're
but
gears.
I also
what's the word? You're noob.
Pega?
Oh, Papega.
Papega.
Papega, dude. You got Papega gear. I think
it's not that Papega, dude. I'm like 275.
I think Papega is an adverb, dude.
Is it?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
I think
Frosty
it's a picture
just
of a
learned...
frog with a funny face.
Frosty, Sphierro, you wouldn't know this. Frosty literally just learned that Papega existed like 2 days ago in Discord.
Oh, that's fun. Well, there you go. We're using it real time right now.
Yeah, I heard it's an emote.
It is. It's an emote on Twitch.
Hell yeah, dude.
Frosty's too old. No. He's like, what's Twitch?
No, okay. Yeah. So the underwater series, I actually just today, Sammy took me out to go to the island so I can start putting energy in those.
Oh, nice.
Man, I'm actually so excited for it. So there's 3 areas. There's Prodigy Cavern. I mean, I think we talked about this a while back, Rezlar, but there's like the low level area that's like 170. That probably sucks. There's the middle area. There's the middle area that's kind of like Mancham's toughness that I'm
probably sucks.
Pretty sure can still drop the Tungrad ring, or the Tungrad ring at least.
The ring?
Yeah, it can still drop it because it's still Sycria ruins. And then there's the higher level area where you need the key from the first Sycria ruins to go to the second one. And then that one can drop. Maybe, I don't know. Oh, dang, someone in my guild just got Penkutum.
Wow. Hey, he'll be out there.
He's going.
He's excited.
Man, I'm just excited for a new spot, and I think it's gonna change the economy in like significant ways because there's gonna be a huge group of people that normally only grind Hystria and Akhman that are really geared. There's still gonna be people in Hystria and Akhman because it requires less AP and DP, but a huge segment of people that are just going to be putting Kaffir stones in the market because it drops dust and Kaffir stones at those new spots. So,
I'm just super excited for people to start selling their Triantet Crescents, driving the price down for these Tungrad rings. Daddy needs another Tet Crescent.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't say I'm not excited like you're excited, but I think it's good. I think it's gonna be good for the game. I hope I don't.
Well. Where do you grind on your warrior?
You know, I don't really grind. So maybe that's one reason why I'm not super excited about it is that I don't grind that often. I don't grind that much, and when I do, it's trees or Gyphins.
Well, I'll have you know, history is gonna have a lot of open spots, dude.
Yeah, or there. I mean, I recently just hit the AP for Hystria, so I'll probably make my way out there because I don't think I'm quite making the new underwater area. I'm not quite there with the AP. I'm sure I could still go do it, but it just wouldn't, obviously optimal and X, Y, and Z, all that conversation.
You're gonna be a god there, I believe.
At the underwater area?
Yeah, dude. The whole server is gonna be waiting for your underwater grind area video.
it'll be awesome. Just hey, no one expect that's not coming. But I think it'll be fun. I think I'll go out there just to check it out. Just because it's gonna be it's gonna be like an event, right? I mean, everyone and their grandmom's gonna be out there. So yeah, I guess we'll see. I know you're excited about it though.
You do, dude. I'm so excited. I've spent like too many hours in history, dude. I'm so bored of history, and history is so contested.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? I've actually heard. I have a couple buddies that farm it a lot, and they're constantly complaining that they're having to not really fight for it, but it's kind of this like awkward, like, hey man, like I was here,
Dude,
you know, I'm done in here. You want to go? Oh no, I'll go. And you know, it's kind of like awkward standoff almost.
it's kind of been my pet peeve for a little while now, where you have they added a new spot in Histria recently, the back/side rotation, which is actually a pretty good
I've
spot.
seen it.
The problem is because it has 3 Eltons, and Eltons can drop the Elton Compass piece, but also it can straight drop a Tungrad neck. So now everybody grinds half of main and then half of side. So it's become one rotation, which has just made things worse. So
That's horrible.
instead of making it so twice as many people can grind, now the same amount of people can grind there because there's one guy taking up 2 spots. They need to put up a wall between side and main rotation. There's no reason why anyone should be grinding that whole thing. I understand it's more efficient, but no one was over clearing every single pack on main. You can extend main pretty easily even without back. So yeah, they need to put a wall there. It drives me nuts.
You think it'd fix the problem? Would it just completely stop it from being viable if there was a huge wall there?
No, because main is still really good money. I mean, like the difference is like, okay, if you do main and side, you can make with a loot scroll like 110, 120 mil an hour, or 105 mil an hour.
Wow.
But without main, if you just do main or just do side, you make like 10 mil an hour less, which is fine because already so much money. Who cares?
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know. They need to change that. But I think it'll be nice having the underwater areas. So
Yeah. I like the design. If I were to, you know, be excited about it, on a level that you're excited about it, I would say I think the design and, you know, the visuals of it are really cool. Like the idea behind the area is super awesome. I mean, I'm not like the biggest like, wow, look at the, you know, holy, look at the scenery and the oh my god, look at the graphics of the game. But I respect it, right? I can appreciate it as well. So I think that's really cool. I think the underwater, you know, you sail out there and then you know, go into this weird little area and all of a sudden it's like you're under the water, but you're grinding like you're at, you know, Fogan.
right.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
I think it's super cool. I've always thought you know, when did it get even announced? Do you remember?
For us or just in general?
No, just in general. Like Korea's had it for
yeah,
like a
they
year.
got it 10 months ago, maybe 11.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so, you know, a year ago, when I saw like the footage and, you know, the leaks and the pictures of it, I was like, man, that's crazy, right? Like that's so cool.
Yeah,
That's gonna be super fun. Like it's just a nice change from, you know, staring at trees and Gyphins and Histria. I mean, Histria's, you know, a pretty cool area too, but man, I'll tell you what, that palette gets old. I think it gets really tiring to look at.
So you don't like grinding in a dark cave for 12 hours a day?
No, I don't know. You know, I think it's starting to wear old on people.
yeah.
Well, isn't the underwater area also a cave?
No,
Or am I wrong?
It is, but it's like fun.
One
right?
of
It's
the
like a fun cave.
One of the 3 is a cave, but it's like not really a cave because it's kind of outdoors and it's like it looks like you're underwater. I don't know, like the whole premise of it, like you were saying, Sphierro, is kind of cool. How you swim out, you have to go underwater. You go through this cave hole, and then suddenly you're in land. Like you're basically in Sandy's house in SpongeBob SquarePants, dude.
Absolutely, yeah. I think it's gonna be a blast. I mean, you can still, you know, dick around and do the normal land shit, but you're like underwater. I think it's awesome.
Dude, the other thing that I'm excited about is you can flag and kill people there. You'll lose karma, but you don't go to jail.
Oh, true. Where do you where's the node? Do you know? Is it far? Like, is it viable to do that? Like, would it take the guy to like 30 minutes to get back, or would it only take him like a minute?
I actually don't know. I'm not too sure if it brings you all the way to the node outside the island, so you have to swim back. I guess if you have a shark suit, it should be easy, right?
Imagine being at that grind spot and accidentally hitting town spawn.
Oh.
I'm pouring energy into that node right now.
That'd be upsetting, actually, if you kind of misclicked it.
Yeah, exactly.
It and you got TP'd out. Oof.
Yeah.
Well, we have a little bit of time. It's not too late, so we can go ahead and bring up the last one.
Uh-oh.
It shouldn't take too long anyway. We were going to talk about Doomhorse. It's been out for a while. People got opinions now, and there's video of it, doing things.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, absolutely.
Frosty, I know you've had some experience with the Doomhorse. What are your thoughts on it?
Remove it. Yeah. No, alright, so first of all, I just want to say, I still think it's the coolest model in the whole game. Like, that horse looks so fucking badass. It's the only horse that made me want to get a dream horse, but I failed all my attempts, so.
I absolutely agree with you, by the way. It's, like, the only time I've been, like, thinking about turning into just a full-blown life skiller for this thing. I want it badly. It's so cool.
Yeah, it looks really, really fucking cool. But, yeah, so I think, actually, this person's been in PvP tournaments before, so the name Kendrick Tamar, who's the tamer.
Sure.
Yeah, he's been around. We fought Barcode on Monday, and open field, Kendrick Tamar is running around on a Doom horse, just murdering people, like slaughtering them, like charging you down, using tamer skills on top of the horse while still charging you over and over and over again. And I had skill animations turned off, so I don't know how much like fire was burning me to death, but it was hell.
We have a guy in Man Up as well with the Doom horse, and he like almost solo took out like Versatile. It was one. It was.
Sorry,
it was ridiculous.
Funny.
Like
that's not funny.
I don't know if it was Versatile, but it was like whoever one of the side guilds that we were like fighting. We would like check in. Someone on Discord like Ren would check in and be like, "Yo, how you doing over there? Are you good?" And he'd be like, "Oh yeah, almost all their annexes are down." And it's like just him on a Doom horse, like one hitting their base. I'm like, that's crazy. Like that's absolutely. Let alone the fact that it's a really, it's a visually appealing horse. It's really cool.
Yeah.
That's all I thought it was. I didn't understand that it was like had this whole other mechanic to it. But supposedly it's absolutely nuts.
Man,
definitely the superior horse to the other two.
So it scales. It scales based on your main hand AP.
Oh, does it really? I didn't know this.
Yeah. So the damage, man, the damage is just fucking crazy. I don't know.
God, imagine someone in Snake with like fucking 287 AP and a Doom horse, dude.
Absolutely insane. I'm sure there is a guy. I'm sure there's a handful of them that, they're in their own little like squad. They're in their own flex party called like the Doom Party. They just run around and just like cast hell upon people. It's just ridiculous. It's absolutely nuts. I don't know if it's a good or bad thing for the game. I don't think I can really weigh in on that at the moment. I think it's still pretty new. But from what I've seen, it's strong.
Yeah. So what's the next T9?
Dude, a seahorse that can swim underwater.
Ooh, actually.
Yeah.
That's
what
huge.
What other famous like mythical horses are there? Let's look it up. Mythical horses.
Oh God, a centaur, dude.
A centaur?
Are you just like? Isn't that just like riding a guy though?
It's just riding a dude.
Are you just riding a dude?
Yeah, you're just riding a dude.
You know what I think would be cool is like a Skeletor horse, like a all skeleton horse. I don't know what its like special mechanics would be though. Maybe like through stuff. Nah, it's stupid.
So there actually is, Frosty, I don't know if you were meaning or if you actually knew this. There actually is a seahorse horse. It's called the hippocampus.
Yeah,
it's a
hippocampus.
sure.
Everyone knows that.
It's a horse in the front, but then instead of like hind legs, it's got a seahorse tail.
Right.
And it has several depictions in ancient Roman history, apparently. So who knows? That might actually be it.
That'd be awesome.
That would actually be kind of interesting, honestly. I don't know.
Now, would it swim underwater or would it just be able to run on water? That's the thing.
I feel like you have to make it swim underwater.
But it doesn't have gills.
Yeah.
It has lungs, so it would drown.
I mean, if you wanted to skip it and not have it go underwater, I think like a Jesus horse.
I made that up, Rezlar. Do not look up the anatomy of a hippopotamus.
No, I'm reading this Wikipedia article. Give me a second.
You said it's a hippocampus or a hippopotamus?
Hippocampus, dude. That's
Okay.
what it's called. The
Sorry,
hippocampus.
I was thinking of a hippopotamus. Hippopotamus has lungs.
There's also, I don't know what this is. This is called a Sleipnir. What the hell is this? This is it's an 8-legged horse.
Ooh, that can climb up mountains and walls.
Whoa,
It's apparently Odin's horse in Norse mythology. It's got 8 legs. How interesting.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so there's the Sleipnir. Then apparently there's something called the dragon horse of... I don't know how to say that because it's in Chinese.
It's Korean. You're reading the Guild Wars 2 wiki page, right?
I don't really see anything specific about this one, so I think we're gonna move on to the next one, which is the Chiron, which is apparently from Japanese. It's got like horns and it's kind of like a dragon in the face kind of thing. I don't know, kind of interesting looking. Could be something cool. Then the centaur and then the hippogriff, which I don't know how this is different from a Pegasus.
Have a griffin, right? Oh, is it?
But it literally looks like a Pegasus. I don't know what the difference is. It's the front half of an eagle and the hind half of a horse.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Huh.
I mean,
Interesting.
at that point, like, really the next thing should just be that all classes get wings. First of all, the amount of money they would make on the cosmetics.
No.
Second, like,
That makes so much.
Like, don't make it so we could fly, but make it so we could glide. All are like Ion or Guild Wars 2. Where like you can't.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That'd be so fun, man. Even in like PvP, if there was no like fall animation, if you could smoothly like use a skill the second you touch the ground after gliding, that'd be so much fun.
Yeah. That would add a whole nother level of PvP, like skill levels.
Yeah,
That'd be
Node
crazy.
War. Maybe Bajir could actually get a CCG. I don't know.
Oh my god.
Oh shit! Did I say that out loud? Edit that out.
That's staying in. I can't be bothered. Alright, well, that's it. That's the last topic of the day. We're finished here. We're done. We're gonna leave it on that note. So that can be the last thing that people digest.
Hold on. I do want to ask. I completely forgot. There was one question I wanted to ask Sphierro earlier. Because Sphierro, you actually make your own highlight videos. Do you not? You edit them yourself?
I do.
How long does it? So on average, how long are the videos? And also, how long does it take you? And what do you use? Like, and how'd you get into it? Like, if you could just kind of rifle through that
sure.
real
I gotta
quick.
make this. Yeah, absolutely. I can make it quick. The videos, it's weird. People always ask like, make it longer or whatever. I usually base it off of the song I'm using.
Mm-hmm.
So if I pick like a 3-minute song, it's gonna be a 3-minute video.
Right.
If it's a 5-minute song, it's gonna be a 5-minute video. But that's why most of my videos average between 4 to 2 minutes. Just depending on. I use Premiere Pro, which is an Adobe product. It's very nice. It's very high quality. I used to use Vegas, but it my Vegas started failing on me for some reason. My like program corrupted or something.
Right.
So I don't use it anymore. How long it takes me, depending on it usually takes me like 8+ hours on on any video. And then that number just goes up. So my longest video I ever took me probably it's like 2 days, something like that. It was like 20 hours. But I get very nitpicky, so I take a lot of time. And I get kind of like, anal about what I'm producing and what I'm like trying to create. So I'll catch myself up on like stupid stuff for hours.
Right.
But yeah, I think was there
Cool.
anything else in that?
No, that was kind of it. And also, what do you charge to make one for my Mystic, dude?
What do I start? You know what? I haven't actually done anyone else's content, but I'd love to. I actually enjoy it. I think one of your other questions is how did I get into it? I don't know. I just thought it's fun. I just think it's cool. That and I grew up, not grew up, but on YouTube back when all these other video games like Call of Duty and stuff were popular, watching like the phase montages and stuff were so like crazy to me. Just like the edits and like the different stuff you could do, with a video editor and then like make it look, with the video game that we're also used to seeing was just super cool to me. But no, I would probably not charge much because I actually really enjoy it. It would probably, I'd charge only a bit, and kind of depending on how long, either the video took me, how much effort, how much, you want me to put into it, is probably what I'd end up charging.
Right. Rezlar actually is getting into it too, but he uses Microsoft Paint. So I don't know how limiting that
hell
is.
yeah.
It's
that's
a
a
little
high quality
difficult.
program right there.
It actually, so I take screenshots of the fights and then I put them in Paint and then save them and then I put them in PowerPoint.
It's a slideshow, a high speed slideshow. It's actually incredible, dude. It's beautiful.
That's
it's a work in
sick.
progress. I'm hoping to be done by 2027.
His first video,
Nice.
it's a 2-minute video, and it took him 8 years to publish. Long after video expired, he's still working on his RuneScape highlight reel.
Yeah,
I'm waiting for that RuneScape one's gonna be crazy. I can already feel it.
Yeah, I'm actually still working on a vanilla WoW one as well, and now it's come out again, so I might get some new footage.
Now we gotta start from scratch.
I love it. That sounds perfect, man. I'm really excited about it.
Man.
Oh yeah, dude.
All right. Yeah, thank you, Sphierro, so much for coming out, man. It was awesome having you on the show.
Of course.
Yeah,
Absolutely. It was fun. Thanks for having me.
and
guys.
and go ahead and tell the people where they can find you, man. YouTube. I don't know if you stream. Do you stream?
Yeah. No, not currently, but I plan on starting. I understand that doesn't really mean a whole lot, but I plan on starting to stream just because it sounds like it looks fun. It's I've done it in the past with other games, but just streaming to the wall is not a whole lot of fun. So hopefully I start streaming here this weekend or maybe next. And hopefully I have a couple people stop in. That'd be awesome. But yeah, absolutely my YouTube. I'm trying to produce a couple videos a week or at least a video a month. I mean, I had a pretty big of a gap, but trying to produce more YouTube content. So absolutely my YouTube, and I really appreciate all the support.
Yeah, for sure. And if you want more of Sphierro, you can check out the link down in the description to his YouTube channel, and make sure you go support him and everything he's doing. He's a fantastic individual. Frosty, you got anything else before we take off here?
Yeah, I'm gonna put up a Reddit post this week.
Daring.
Yeah, I'm gonna risk it.
I like it, dude.
I'm
Go
gonna
for
go
it.
50-50. We'll see what happens. I'll put up a Reddit post. Like, comment, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure that you add comments. All of the YouTube comments we reply to, at least in text. I'll reply to the Reddit ones for sure. Some of them I'll read on air. And then what else? I had something else.
Join the Discord.
Oh yeah, join the Discord, and I guess that's it. I don't know. I had something really cool in my mind just 1 second ago, but my mind went.
And then the second we click stop on this recording, he's gonna be like, "Oh wait, I know. Can we add it in afterwards? Can you just edit it in?"
Everyone, just hang tight while I remember. Give me a minute. I cannot remember.
Here, I got you. While you remember it, Reddit also seems to enjoy my my stuff. So maybe this post on Reddit will be successful. Hopefully, we'll see.
Yeah.
They seem to like me over there, which I really appreciate. Actually, Reddit can be harsh.
They seem to fucking hate us, and by them I mean the mods, and by the mods I mean one mod in particular, who I'm not gonna name.
Ooh.
But there's some hatred. Who knows? Maybe Frosty won't get banned like I did for just posting content.
Yeah.
Frosty, did it come to you?
It did not. No, I'm a failure. Yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what's up. We love replying to the comments. If you have anything you want to talk to us directly about, let us know on Discord. We're always on there as well. And if you have feedback and topics you want to discuss, just bring it up there, and we're happy to go with it. Oh, I'm getting attacked by he gave up. Yeah.
Okay.
That was quick. That was a fast
hit me with Nature's Tremble and then realized it did like 10% of my health, and then he stopped attacking me and put ... and walked away.
We've all had that moment.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, that's going to do it for this podcast. Like Frosty said, make sure to like, comment, tell us what your thoughts are on what we talked about. Give us your opinions on it. We love replying to you guys. It's honestly like the best part of the podcast. Thanks again to Sphierro for coming out.
Hello, people. Rezlar from the future. Or I suppose the past if you're listening to this now. I don't know how that works. It's currently almost midnight, Sunday night. I have to be up in 6 hours to go to work. And I'm editing this, so that's fun. This is the part where I say me and Sphierro did some fights. Forgot to include that, so I'm including it now. So the next couple minutes are just going to be music if you're listening. If you're watching the YouTube video, then you can watch the fights between me and Sphierro. But, yeah, skip forward if you're just listening. Alright, y'all have a good one.
hopefully you guys can forgive us for missing a week, but we're back. Again, if you need updates on whenever we're going to miss dates or things are going to be delayed, you need to join the Discord. That's the only way you're going to get those sorts of notifications. And it's also where you can engage in some discussion. Tell us the kinds of topics that you guys would like to kind of see discussed. We do pull from there occasionally. So make sure you go and join the Discord.
I remembered. It was a shameless self-plug. I remembered. It was a shameless self-plug. My band Hello Stranger has a new like acoustic single for Hardline out that actually sounds really, really cool, and I'm super proud of. So check out the song Hardline. It's on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, all that. So yeah, Hardline by Hello Strangers. So check that out. That shit's dope. Highlight video from Sphierro on that soon. We'll see.
Hey, actually, I'm gonna have to go listen to it. Everyone go check that one out.
Alright.
I might put that one in if it's loud.
Alright, you guys have ruined my intro enough. That's it, we're done. We're fading right now. We're fading into the abyss. Bye, everybody. See you next week.